So, Lauren,
Yes.
what is the last time we recorded an episode?
Oh, let's see. Probably 3 years ago. Over 3 years at this point.
And what's today's date?
Today, it is October 17th of the year 2023.
Holy shit.
And we are back, bitches.
We are back. Welcome back to the Gemini archives.
Wow. That's
It
so
is
weird to say.
It has been resurrected from the dead. We are here.
We had to
during
make an
Spooky
ambrosia.
We had to make what?
We had to make it ambrosia.
I don't even know what that means.
It's from The Sims. It's the stuff
Oh.
you give ghosts that bring them back to life.
Oh, I've been playing. Literally, I was on a hiatus playing The Sims. I stopped playing about 3 years ago, funny enough.
Mhm.
And I just started playing again, last week?
Yeah.
Holy shit. So it has been a while. We acknowledge this.
Oh, man.
I went to go sit down and start everything today. And I was like, I don't even know if I remember how to do this.
Well, because now we have a different setup because if anyone listened to, I don't know if we're going to put this up before this, probably. The very last episode we did, I moved to Utah. So we're like, well, it's going to be hard to record. So we're probably just not going to do it anymore. But honest to God, I'm just going to say it. We're using Google Meets. It's
Literally.
fantastic. We sound better than we ever did in the last 50 episodes. I swear to God.
It's true. So I know, I'm like, how are we going to do this? And because it started because Laura and I wanted to watch a movie together through Discord or something, and we just could not figure it out. Every time we try, it was either the audio wasn't working or there was a horrible lag or something was happening. And finally we tried Google Meets, and it was the only thing that worked. And I was like, do you think we could record the podcast doing this? And Lauren was like, yeah. So
Yeah.
we were like, fuck it, we're gonna bring the podcast back because we have so many things to talk about.
Oh my gosh. I mean, where do we
So many
even
things.
begin?
Lauren literally has a list. So
I wrote down a list of topics to talk about for sure.
well,
But this episode alone, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna start with. I really don't.
I mean, first of all, we'll fill you in. So if you didn't already listen, I think we are going to put it up. It was the last episode we recorded. Lauren ended up moving to Utah. So she's on the other side of the world from me. And because I'm still in Connecticut. And we were just like, well, that's the end of that. Fuck it. Whatever. And then a few months after that, Trent moved in with me. And shocking news, we're no longer together as of a couple months ago. So I'm single. That is a story for a different day. Maybe the next episode we'll touch on that a little bit more. But
yeah, that was a whole
show. Ordeal. It did not end well. It was ugly. So I'm single now. I'm living by myself, literally just me for the first time ever. Usually there's always been somebody around, but now I'm living by myself. Lauren got married back in June of 2023.
Y'all, I am fucking all the way married now.
So unbelievably married.
For 4 months, almost 4 months, I've been married. So
I mean, how is married life?
it is literally no different than any other life. Honest to God. Nothing has changed. We're still stupid. Like, because you guys, I'm sure if you were old listeners of the podcast, heard the episode I did with my husband Quinn. And like, that was the first time we saw each other. If we came on the podcast now, you'd be like, oh, you're definitely married. I mean, we just talk like that.
I know, like, Lauren doesn't even laugh at his jokes. And, well, I shouldn't say it like that, but, like, he'll say something and normally, you know, like, when you're first dating someone and you're like, oh, that's so cute. He's hilarious. Lauren just, like, doesn't even, like, she just rolls her eyes and...
Well, you become desensitized to, like, all the silly after a while, you know?
And, like, meanwhile, I'm falling on the floor, like, laughing so hard. And Lauren's just like, nope, yep, this is my life.
Well, he makes our mom laugh, and it's like really hard to get her to laugh that hard. Not because she doesn't have a sense of humor, but she just doesn't get jokes and stuff. But
let's be honest, that might have something to do with it too. Anyway, well, please continue.
Yeah, but he also does accents and stuff, and it like kills her because my dad does accents. It's like you can act like you hate that shit all you want, but she loves it. She loves weird accents and voices and all that stuff. And she acts like she hates it, you know?
And Quinn is good too. Like, he can do all the voices.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you guys...
Like, ask him to do any voice, and I'm sure he could do it. Any accent, any cartoon character, any movie, anything he can do. So,
and like sometimes it's just so subtle, like when you guys were here for the wedding and like I don't even remember what voice he did, but it just like came out of nowhere. I literally fell to the floor because I was laughing so hard. I wish I could remember what it was, but
I don't even know half the time. Like, we are just so silly. So I am married, but I live in an apartment now, and when I moved in 2021, wait, it's only been 2 years since I moved. Did I say 3? Anyway.
You said 3.
Sorry, I meant 2. It's June of 2021. Anyway, so we originally moved into my now brother-in-law's house. Well, his apartment or whatever. It's like a 3-bedroom, 1-bath place. And we had the tiniest and hottest room for 2 months. That was fun. And then we got our apartment and we've been here ever since. Like 2 months after we moved in there. Well, I did anyways. Quinn was there before me. And we live in like a 3-story apartment where the middle floor, which is so great. And up until 3 weeks ago, we had the worst upstairs neighbors. And like, I feel like people can relate to this because a lot of people live in apartments, but do you ever get those neighbors who were just so loud? And I mean like unnecessarily loud. We lived beneath 4 kids and 1 mom. And I'm like, I understand that's hard. I understand it's hard to raise any amount of kids. But when you live underneath 4 kids, it's like I wanted to jump out the window every day for 2 years. So they moved in a month after we did. And they just moved out, the end of September. So, and now we have a new neighbor upstairs. And it's one woman who is like dead quiet. And I am so happy. I'm like, thank you, God.
I mean, God bless.
And
well, that was like,
oh, sorry.
I was gonna say when you moved, when you had left, like before Lauren had moved, we had the loudest, and you've heard it in a couple of episodes, I'm sure, just the loudest neighbors. They were bikers, so they were always outside, like working on their bikes, always making noise. We were like, holy shit. And then literally like a month after you moved, they left. And like,
of course,
we never saw them again. And it just returned to quiet around here. But yeah, so I know, like, it's, you know, I mean, I don't live in an apartment, but
it's been like a trip living in an apartment, honestly.
I know, you've never done it before.
No.
Everyone I know that's lived in apartments is like, I will never go back to living in one again.
Yeah, our lease is up in August, and I think we're just going to be done and go look for a place because I hate it. Because
God
it's not
bless.
just the people that live next to you, above you, below you. No, it's the people outside, the people in 3 buildings over. It's everyone. You don't just deal with the people in your building. You know, the way ours is set up, it's not just like one complex with like 18 floors. It's like 20 buildings with 6 apartments per building. So, and it's like a family place or whatever. And like, so everyone's kids are outside. Of course, right where our apartment is, the playground's right next to it. So we hear everyone's kids every day screaming, everyone when the pool is open the 2 months out of the year. Because, okay, we have to pay $20 a month for the pool, but it's only open literally 2 months out of the year, if that. Because one, they fucking drain it all the time. And then, like, because people bring glass in there and they break glass in the pool and you got to drain it and take it out because you can't see it, it's see-through. And like it, oh my god, there's so many things at this place that just drive me absolutely crazy. People blaring their music, fucking blaring music in their cars and at the pool, and you know, skateboarding and playing basketball. And it's like all the noise is like right outside our apartment window all the time. And these fucking, the insulation in here sucks. The walls are paper thin. So you hear everything. I'm sure people hear me like right now, and I don't give a shit because everyone here is so loud. Like I don't care if I'm loud anymore. Now our downstairs neighbors have started banging on their ceiling or our floor to get us to be quiet sometimes. Because sometimes my husband can play music a little too loud, and I'm just like, fuck you. You're gonna fucking yell at us when people are blaring their music that you can hear down the street. Get fucked. I hate the people here.
I'm so sorry. Do you know what you should do? Just put on like your biggest pair of boots and just stomp around the house. Like
I
the
should just
floor
put
is
on like
fire.
I should just put on cinder blocks on my feet and just keep stomping all over my apartment.
I've seen and heard from other people, like everyone that lives in an apartment is convinced that their neighbors like jump when they run or like wear cinder blocks on their feet because they're so noisy.
Yeah, they just walk like Neanderthals, you know, just dragging a giant stick behind them. It's fucking ridiculous.
So I know that was a huge adjustment for you when you moved, and it was a
Yeah.
huge adjustment for me because you were gone, and I was like, meh.
I know. It's been kind of hard, you know?
Yeah, it's hard because like since Lauren has moved, you've been back twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is not enough, but
I know.
you
It's
know.
just airplane tickets are expensive, especially across the country. It's hard.
It is hard. So it's, and of course, like the last time you were here was your wedding, so which we'll get into in a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
like we didn't exactly have time to just like hang out because it was like every day something, like we had to go get pedicures one day and you had to go get your hair done one day, and then we had
the
to
rehearsal. Yeah.
Yeah, and like all this other stuff because it was like our entire family was at this wedding. So it's like people were coming and going and oh, let's get together. We haven't seen each other in like 10 fucking years. So
I mean, when I tell you that the family turned up for this, they turned up.
it was an event. Like it was great. So my point being, we didn't have exactly time to just kind of hang out. And like the last time you came was like at the end of 2022. So it was like about a year ago. So October of 2022.
Then the reason I had to go that time was because for the venue, they let us do a tasting of all the food that we had at the wedding, which by the way, so good. And so I had to be there for that, and Quinn, because I'm like, there's no way anyone but me and Quinn are going to this. So
right.
We are going to taste that food. Thank you. So
yeah. So Lauren came. We went to the Witch's Dungeon Museum here in well, now it's in Plainville. It was originally in Bristol. Now it's in Plainville, Connecticut. And
yeah.
We ended up going, and it was a blast, even though you guys were jet lagged like fuck.
Oh my god.
And like
awful.
We just had like dinner and so like we didn't really get to do you only here for like what, like 4 days?
5 days, yeah.
5 days. So I don't count the 5th day because you just woke up and left. So
Yeah. We got home like super late.
and like it was weird, like watching you leave, and then like we were both sobbing. We are like, don't go.
I know.
And we were just like, it was, I don't know, it's just weird because like you gotta understand, like Laura and I have been inseparable for our entire lives up until she moved. Like inseparable.
Yeah.
So it was a huge adjustment for us to just be like physically apart. Because I mean, not all twins are like close, you know, like some of them just have like a normal like brother sister relationship, or sister sister, brother brother, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Like it's some of them aren't as close, but like Laura and I have always been close. So it was when she was like, I'm moving to Utah, I was like, what? It's like,
I know.
what? But I'm glad you did, because Quinn's family is great too, and you get to, you know, spend time with them, and you know, it's just it's different than living on the East Coast, apparently.
Yeah, it's well, because now Utah kind of, well, especially where I live in like the Salt Lake City area, like it just feels like California, because all the Californians have infiltrated here, and it's like there's people everywhere. That's why when we move, I want to move either super north or super south, because I have to get out of this area. It's driving me crazy.
Right.
There's too many people. So, because it's all been overtaken by the Californians. It's kind of like New York on the, you know, the East Coast. So they like just go everywhere. And it's not even just New England. It's like Florida and Georgia and the Carolinas and like everywhere. It's all New Yorkers all over the place.
Oh yeah. No, I know. It's either New York or LA. Like they're just fucking everywhere. And like, oh, I just blanked on what I was gonna say. This is a great first episode back, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be a bit rusty. You're gonna have to excuse us.
Yeah, we're still shedding the rust of 2 years of not doing this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so weird too, because like I'm so used to like looking at you and having like that human interaction when we do this, and now it's just like a picture on a screen.
I know. Oh, but the yawning, it never stopped.
Yawning has, yeah, I was gonna say the yawning has not stopped. So
it's like 1 PM here. I should not be yawning.
Thorn, please.
I know. I'm sorry.
But I even noticed that too. Like, well, I'm not working there now. I left my job like a couple weeks ago, but my previous job I was working at, it was for health insurance and here in Connecticut. And I noticed a lot of people from the West Coast were coming out here. Like a lot of people were moving and they were enrolling in health insurance, because I would just move from Texas, Arizona, Utah, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's because they have driven people out of there because they're just so insufferable.
Yeah,
you know?
and probably a lot of like the New England folk coming back to realizing this is too much. We did not want California. We wanted West Coast.
Right.
So.
And like, I've never been to LA. I've been to New York plenty of times, so I understand the culture there, if you want to call it that. But like, LA, it just seems like and I'm sorry, I'm going to offend everybody I know that lives in LA, and I don't fucking care. It just seems like a cesspool. Like
It
the
is.
mentality.
Yeah, I've been to both, and it's exactly how you think it is.
Like, it's the mentality of people from that area is very closed-minded, you know? Like, everyone I've ever encountered, I shouldn't say everyone, but almost everyone that I've encountered from that area all have, like, that same, like, attitude of we're fucking superior and the rest of the world sucks. And it's just like, it's not a way to live, bro, you know?
I know. Well, I dated a guy from that area, and it's like, he felt like that. Like, when he came to Connecticut, he was like, this is not good. This sucks. This is whatever. California already has this, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like nothing impressed him because, oh, we already have everything. Well, then go back to California.
No, you know, like, can I just say too, like, people that like travel to new places and expect it to be exactly like where they came from are the biggest fucking morons. Yes. Like, you're going to a new place, like, it's supposed to be different, you know? Like, I don't understand. So
I don't understand it either. Cause like I knew Utah was going to be different. Cause I actually, you know, visited here before I moved here just to make sure I was really going to like it or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I've been to California plenty of times in the West Coast. So I'm like, yeah, I can do this, you know, that. And I would have rather changed my whole life to be with my husband, well, my now husband, and then go on living apart from him. I couldn't take it anymore because if I couldn't move, we probably wouldn't be together right now. And that's the truth.
all right.
You know, it would kill us, but it just wouldn't work because one of us couldn't move. Because with the pandemic and everything too, it was already hard enough.
All right.
You know, trying to make it last. So I'm like, well, then I won't have to worry about that. You know, I can just go be with him. And then I needed to change anyways. I was almost 30 and it was like, it was time. You know, it was time to spread my wings and go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, it worked out well. And yeah, Trent moving up here did not work out well. Like I re-listened to our last episode recorded like before you moved, and I was cringing. Like some of the I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God. Because I mean, like I said, I'm gonna talk about it in the next episode a little bit more, but it quickly became a not good situation. We'll put it that way. Like as time went on, I was like, oh my God, like this is not going to work out. So,
oh my God, out of all the times for someone to be mowing the fucking lawn, they usually come on Mondays, but no, they're coming on a fucking Tuesday today. So I'm so sorry if you can hear noise outside my window.
I mean, I can't hear anything, but that is very true in Gemini Archives fashion to have background noise. Like, if you listen back to like some of our episodes, you just hear straight. It sounds like helicopters are outside because
I know.
So
well, that's what you're gonna hear from me is someone doing the damn hedges, mowing the lawn, doing all this fucking yard work. Like they usually come Monday morning at 7 a.m., but for some reason they didn't do it yesterday, so they're doing it right now, conveniently. Like fucking conveniently.
Oh no, I'm telling you, like. And also, too, can I just talk about, like, I don't know if it's because of the eclipse that happened recently. I have been having such a hard time, like, sleeping this week.
Yeah.
Like, not even just, like, going to bed at a decent hour, but, like, waking up at a decent hour. I talked to our father today. I talked to Dad. He said hi.
Dad.
He called me this morning, and he said the same thing. My dad is he's up at, like, 5 a.m. on the dot. Every day. Today, he slept in for an hour and a half.
Oh my God. Did he have to work today?
Yeah, but he slept in and he thought like our mother was going to wake him up, but she didn't. So he like jumped out of bed like a bat out of hell. Just like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
And he wasn't late. He was working. He works hybrid. So there's a couple days where he works from home and then on the other, he goes into the office. But today was his remote day. So it's not like he had to be out of the house or anything.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, Dad, what the fuck? I'm like, you never see. He's like, I know. It was so weird. That never happens to me.
I know.
But I did the same thing this morning where I woke up at like 8:30 and I was like, oh, I'll sleep for another couple of minutes or whatever. And then I woke up, it was almost noon. And I literally was like, oh my God, I did not mean to do that. It was the worst. I'm like, Jesus Christ, being unemployed has fucked up my sleep schedule, which is annoying. But I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, just about the eclipse. I actually saw it. You could see it really well here in Utah, especially. And my husband took pictures while he was at work. One of his coworkers had those like eclipse glasses, and he literally took a picture through the lens, and you could see it. It was really cool. And I went to go look at it, didn't draw my curtain back enough, and I almost blinded myself.
Yeah, you got to be careful. That shit will make you. Well, you're already almost illegally blind, but that'll make you literally not be able to see.
Yeah. So I had one of those eye floaters for like 100 years, but then it went away.
I'm so sorry. Like Lauren's eyesight is so bad. Like if you put on her glasses, it's like wearing like those drunk goggles that they make you wear. Like, don't drink and drive. Put on these goggles. You know, when like you're a kid or whatever. That's literally what your glasses look like to me. Like, I can't walk a straight line when I wear them.
Well, do you want to know what I see when I don't wear my glasses? Have you ever seen a VHS tape where it's so fuzzy and like you can't make out a single detail? That's what my vision is like.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Poor Lauren. I know, because like I've been better about not, because my eyesight's okay. Like, it's bad, but it's not that bad. And like I could like watch TV and stuff without them usually, like, because I have a giant TV, so it's not like I need them anyway. But like there are times, like especially now that like, guys, we're 31. Like, holy shit, I'm getting old. Like, and someone's gonna listen to this and be like, "You think that's old?" What? No, like I'm old. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna be 32 next year. My joints hurt. I'm old. Like,
yeah.
You know, now that I'm getting older, it's like, and I wear prescription glasses, but even sometimes those, I'm like, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Like, my eyes are just like going. So even just like sitting at my computer now, I have those blue light glasses on, which like kind of help, but I have to get like 3 inches from the screen to see what I'm doing. Because I'm like, wait, what? Like, all the font on my computer is really tiny. And I'm like, what does that say? And I'm like squinting.
Right.
It's great. But yeah, no, we're old.
Yeah, we're like that song from SpongeBob. You know, you're old.
Am I going to have to put the song in now?
Yeah, now you're going to have to put it in.
Okay, well, they're already listening to it, so.
Right. Okay.
That's the one thing I don't miss about podcasting is all the editing I'm going to have to do.
That's okay.
At the time of recording this, I haven't even edited the last episode.
It'll get up there.
Yeah. No, we're going to upload them at the same time, I think. But,
okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't even edited it yet. I wrote down notes for that to edit, and I put them somewhere, and then they vanished. I know they are in this room somewhere, though. Like, I will find them.
I rewrote them. Well, almost all of them, just in case.
Oh, thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Because I'm probably going to need that, because I swear to God, like, I had them from the day that we recorded, and I'm like, oh, I'll edit this at a later time, and then later never came, and I was like, whoops. So, because, yeah, once Trent moved in, it's like my life was just completely different. So,
yeah,
and yeah, well, like I said, I'll touch on that in another episode. But yeah, I'm going to a therapist next week. If anyone wants a glimpse of like how poorly that ended, so
I know,
and that's why like I'm excited that we're bringing this back, just because we're at a point now where it's like we can record, not only because we figured out like how to record, but like we have the time right now to like bang out some episodes. So, because like we decided we want to get more like topic specific with our episodes too. Just kind of like, you know,
change up the format just a little bit, make it a little more, what do you call it? Like proper, I guess, or like structured. That's it.
Yeah. So, because Lauren had, like I said, she has a list.
I have a huge list of ideas, and some of them were thanks to my husband.
Huh? And thank you, Quinjamin. That's what I call him, Quinjamin. So there's like a lot of like specific topics and things like that. Like we want to talk about. There was one video I watched recently, and you wrote this down. I don't know if we have the list near you.
I do,
but it was about the restaurants. I don't remember exactly what they were called.
Ghost kitchens.
Ghost kitchens. Thank you. That's what it was. I watched like 4 videos about ghost kitchens and spiraled. I was like, we have to talk about this.
That's me constantly just watching shit and spiraling into it.
Yeah, same. Like, I've just been watching like all kinds of like weird things now that like I have the freedom to, and that's going to sound really fucked up when I say it like that, but like I did not have like alone time and like, you know, room to be myself while the ex was here. you know, so after we broke up, I had, you know, that freedom to like basically watch and do whatever the hell I want. And I literally, like Lauren, like fell down like 17 different YouTube rabbit holes. And I was like, where am I going with this? Like,
Great.
I'm like, we have to talk about these things.
Like, I'm looking at the list right now. I have it in my phone. And it's like I have let's see. Lost Media is one of the ones I really want to talk about because we can make 4 episodes from that alone about Lost Media in cartoons, in movies, in TV, in, you know, like a whole bunch of different things. So definitely that.
Yes.
And then like we did talk about this, but not at like full length in our last episode. Liminal spaces, submechanophobia. You know, we talked about those 2, but we didn't really do a good job. So sorry, don't pay attention to that. We'll actually dive deeper into those.
Yeah, no, we'll actually like, because I kind of, and I listened back to it, I kind of like fucked up the definition of like what a liminal space is.
Yeah, so, don't pay any mind to that, please. We were not good.
We were not in the right headspace because we were worried about other important things that were coming up, obviously. So
yeah, and like I won't give everything away that we're gonna do, but that's like more so like along the lines of that stuff, because the episodes where we talked about like Local 58 and the Bunny Man and like stuff like that were some of my favorites. And that's kind of what we kind of want to focus the podcast on, is like not only talking about us as people, but talking about interests, you know, that we have. So you really know us better as people. That's what this whole podcast is about. It's like therapy, but it's also like a way, like an outlet for like us to enjoy the things we enjoy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so much stuff too. Like, excuse me, like when we were not recording, like we would be talking. It's like, oh, that would make a great podcast episode. So like, there's just a ton of stuff that we're going to be doing.
I got at least 20 ideas written down. So
yeah, so there's going to be like
new stuff.
We are excited. So, and I mean, aside from that, like the format's basically going to just be the same. Like it's just going to be like what you're used to. Just like we'll put in like a song each. And oh yeah, do you have a song for today, by the way?
Thank God I'm going last because I'm still got to think about it.
I already have one. Because,
okay, good.
How long have we been recording for? Let me see.
I think like about half an hour or so.
I was going to say, it doesn't tell me how long. That's the only thing.
I glanced at my clock and it was like 5 after 1 and now it's 1:35. So at least half an hour.
So, okay, yeah. So we'll go to a break in a minute. And
then we'll talk about my wedding and all that stuff, like how my proposal, the wedding, everything would happen. So,
and I'm so excited about it because that was such a good day, honestly. Like one of the best days ever.
I'd say it was probably one of the best days of my life.
What a song. From a band that was introduced to me a while ago by a friend of mine named Erica. Hey girl, what's up?
Hey girl, hey.
And she had shared them and like told me to check them out. It's a band from Sweden. Their name is Century. And I have been, ever since I listened to this band, I have been obsessed with them. Like obsessed. Like
hell yeah.
And they're not like they're just like a straight up, just kind of like old school heavy metal type of band. Like the vocals aren't like, you know, like they're pretty mellow and like they're actually like singing. It's not like, you know, guttural screaming, anything like that. And I have been incessantly listening to this band for like months and months and months. So I'm gonna put in one of their songs. I think I'm going to put in Streets in the Dark, I think is what it's called. Something like that. And it's from their demo, like their first demo that came out. If you can find physical copies of this stuff, because it sells out so fucking quick because they DIY everything. And I think they're on a label now, but I'm not 100% sure if they have like copies still. If you could find any physical copies of their music, buy it. Like they are So fucking good. Like, I can't even begin to describe.
Do it.
So yeah, you better do that shit.
Kidding.
So I'm gonna put them in here. I'm putting in the whole song. We're gonna stick to just putting in whole songs because fuck it to heck. Who cares?
Listen, we're not making money off of this at all, so
No.
we're putting it in.
And like we recently moved all the episodes to YouTube. So they're not monetized, which is why we can get away with like putting in the full song and everything.
Yeah,
But-
just one of the episodes, if you live in like Germany or some shit, because I put in a Cannibal Corpse song in one episode. That one might not be there, but otherwise, everything else is good.
Yeah, sorry for anyone that all 6 of you, if any of you 6 live in Germany, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry if you can't listen to it.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse
But-
is still restricted in fucking Germany, which is bizarre. It's been 20, 30, 40 years. Come on, man.
I know, like, there are so many worse things to worry about than lyrics in a Cannibal Corpse song.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Literal wars going on right now, and it's like, oh, we
Literal
can't listen
war.
to songs about, yeah. It's like, oh, we can't listen to songs about bloody cunts. And it's like, well, great. You know, last little bit of joy in my life, and it's gone. You know?
So that's like, well, fuck. Like, I just imagine you like putting your hands on your hips, just like, well, I'll be a son of a gun.
Yeah. Me as a parent, just like, I'll be a son of a gun.
Oh shit. But yeah, so I'm gonna put in Sentry. Go check them out. They are amazing and wonderful and awesome and all the other adjectives in the world for great.
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna put that in, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about Lauren's wedding and all the ups and downs, because as great of a day as it was a little, and by a little I mean a lot, chaotic. So
Yeah.
but I think that's normal with weddings, but
I know there's
know.
always something that happens, so
but we'll talk about the ups and downs and the whole day, and we'll paint the picture for you. We'll share a picture too. Like we'll throw a couple pictures up on the Instagram and stuff.
yeah, I mean, if you have me on Facebook or whatever, you've seen the pictures already. Or my Instagram.
True. Some people
So-
do not have you on Facebook, Lauren.
I mean, that's true.
So we'll throw some up on the Instagram that is collecting cobwebs because it's been so long.
Same with our Facebook. Sorry.
I know our Facebook, we should just get rid of that. Like literally no one ever looks at it. And it's not that no one ever looks at it, it's no one ever sees the posts.
I know, but you know what's so bizarre? Our podcast Facebook page has just about as many likes, if not more, than Quinn's band's Facebook page.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's
It's
funny.
serious.
I know we need to revamp all the pages. Like it's everything's kind of sitting dormant because we're like, are we gonna bring it back? Are we gonna just like end it? Are we gonna, what are we gonna do with this?
I
And
know.
part
We
of
need
the
to
reason,
start sharing memes on there, maybe.
right? And like part of the reason too, like it was kind of in limbos because I had mentioned in the last episode that I was gonna record a podcast with Trent, and I was waiting on him to fucking record a podcast with me, and it just never happened. So I was like, well, fuck it, like now it just sits dormant because God forbid he could even just bother to do something nice for me. But
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, I'm going to put in Sentry. You're all going to love this song, I promise. And Lauren can think of one while we're on our break because in true Gemini Archives fashion, we are so prepared.
I know. Actually, I did think of one while you were talking, so
Oh, good. So that's exciting.
yes.
Yeah, because I mean, we're gonna try to like not be like that. I know we kind of like do things on a whim usually, but like we're gonna try to actually like prepare for things and like
Yeah.
be a little bit more organized. But who am I kidding? By the third episode we record after this one, we're gonna be a shit show. So,
We're going right back, probably.
but all right, I'm putting in the song and then we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Looking up on street lights.
And we're back.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. So on our break, just before we came back, I was telling Lauren about the Beetlejuice animatronic at Spirit that you could buy. It's like literally it's this 5'8" Beetlejuice animatronic. Was Beetlejuice 5'8"?
Probably.
Like, is that his actual height? Because that's kind of hilarious that they made that very specific detail. But I'm telling you,
that's probably the size of the animatronic. That's why.
No, I know it's the size of the animatronic, but I wonder if Beetlejuice was actually 5'8".
I don't know.
How tall is Michael Keaton? We're doing a quick Google search.
Here we go.
Hold on. He was 5'9", so that was false advertising.
Yeah.
No, I was telling Lauren about it because it is literally, and you know, I collect Beetlejuice stuff. Like that's my bread and butter. This is the ugliest thing I have ever seen. They did Beetlejuice real dirty in this one because, like, it is the ugliest thing. Just do a quick search of Spirit animatronics Beetlejuice, and you'll see it's sold out right now, which means a bunch of unfortunate souls have this ugly ass thing in their home.
Your poor unfortunate souls. Sorry.
But like, I was and it like actually sounds like him. Like if you watch the little video in the listing, it actually does like sound like him. But it is the ugliest thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
It's gross.
Ugh.
It's like icky.
It's yuckies. But like they do have some cute Beetlejuice things. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm more of a fan of the cartoon than the movie. So I kind of like don't really care for a lot of the stuff that Spirit like sells because it's from the movie. But if they sold stuff from the cartoon, I would buy every single thing.
I know. I mean, because we were only talking about Spirit because I went there the other day and because Quinn and I were like, we need some last minute like Halloween ideas just in case we get invited somewhere. So we just bought like vampire teeth and it came with like a palette for like, you know, with like red paint and black paint and white paint or whatever. It was like $4. We're like, yeah, let's just get these.
Did you get the clip-on teeth or like the whole like the dentures that go in your mouth?
No, it's like one big. It's just the top row too, and it's like a rubber like thing that goes over all your teeth.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I also got some skeleton head garlands, which was really cute. But
I love
we were just there and they had animatronics on display and Megan's like, did you see the Beetlejuice one? And we're like, no. I was like, Quinn's not here. There was a scarecrow one though, and a clown torso and a pumpkin that just shot up and the insides were like pouring out. It scared the shit out of me. And then like another one. Oh, it was like some possessed girl and her head tilted to the side and her mouth was open and shit. It was pretty cool.
And the Mars Attacks.
Huh?
And the Mars Attacks.
Oh, and the Mars Attacks alien. Yeah. So
I would love that. Like, I would get that for the porch. Keep the raccoons away. I have a raccoon problem.
When Quinn and I get a house, you won't be able to stop us from getting all this shit.
What I honestly wanted was the 12-foot like skeleton from Home Depot. Yeah. I just wanted to like lean it against the garage because the way the house is, like the garage like faces the street. And so like if you drive by the house, that would be the first thing you would see. It's just like a 12-foot skeleton. I think that would be hilarious. I want it.
Hope to God no one comes up and steals it though.
I would have to like bolt it to the garage or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, how the hell are you going to steal a 12-foot skeleton and be inconspicuous about it? Just like cover your eyes while it's under your arm? Like, yeah, like no one's going to steal a 12-foot skeleton.
Yeah, honestly.
Like I remember one time I left my phone outside for like the entire day and didn't realize it because I just wasn't near my phone. I'm like, where the fuck's my phone? It just sat on the porch. Like anybody could have like walked up and grabbed it, but no one did. It just sat there. I'm like, God. That was probably not a good idea.
Anyway.
Yeah, so
sorry, we're in the spooky season mood because it's October, so
oh yeah,
you're gonna have to excuse us talking about that before my wedding.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but just to end that thought, I am going to get the 12-foot skeleton at some point.
I want 2 of them at the end of my driveway.
Just like gargoyles, just like
Yeah.
one on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine like going to someone's house and it's like 12-foot skeletons?
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
That would be the best ever. Or just like
Mhm.
something. Like I always wanted like a gargoyle or something like that. Just to
Or like
sit
a
outside.
lion. Yeah.
Like a lion, you know? That would be amazing. But yeah, anyway, back to wedding matters.
Yes.
So you got married.
Where do I start? Because do I start from the proposal to the actual wedding, or do I just like
Whatever you want.
I mean, the proposal wasn't anything fancy. Honestly, it was our 2-year dating anniversary. He made me shepherd's pie. And I was like, this is nice. This is like a nice anniversary. We were just at home, in our crap apartment. And like, he's just like, hold on, I got something for you. And I was like, what the fuck did he get? I'm like, we said no gifts, And he goes to our room, comes out with the ring box. And I was like, oh God. I knew it was going to happen, but like, I didn't know it was going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he proposed, and then I cried. And then immediately I texted Megan, was the first person who knew, And
I was sobbing.
Then I called my in-laws, so Quinn's parents, and then I called my parents, and my mom thought something bad happened because it was about 7:30 here, so it was 9:30 in Connecticut. She had just gone to bed. So my dad picked up the phone, and I was like, you got to put Mom on. I have something to tell you. And he's like, is it bad? I'm like, no, not at all. He's like, oh, okay. So my mom takes the phone. She's like, what happened? Like she couldn't even be excited yet until I was like, Quinn proposed to me, And she's like, oh my God, She's like, I thought it was something bad. You never call this late. I'm like, I'm sorry. I couldn't wait till the morning. So
typical of my family to immediately assume something bad happened. Like, not even just like, oh, Lauren's calling us. It's like, no, somebody died. Something happened. She's in the hospital.
She got ran over by a car.
No, they just tip. I guarantee when you called Quinn's parents, they were like, oh, hey, congratulations. My parents, immediate panic. Just like, it's just like, what happened to Lauren?
They were so excited that they called us back, and they were like, oh my gosh, we are so excited. Like, they called us 2 times afterwards. It was very funny.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that was in January of 2022. So we wanted the wedding to be next year, and we were initially planning to have it in Utah, and we already had a place picked out and like whatever, and that was fine. So then that's when my parents decided, okay, we're going to come out in the summer. We'll put a deposit on the venue that you want. And, we'll get your dress. Like I got my dress when my mom was here and, and all that stuff. So that was like in July, I think. End of June, beginning of July. So it was about 6 months away. And, oh my gosh, just planning that wedding. I didn't realize, and I'm sure a lot of people empathize and understand how much work it takes to plan a wedding. I mean, because you got to think about everything. It's not just like a dress, some flowers, and your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, you have them all set or whatever. It's napkins, it's centerpieces, it's fucking like everything. Every detail.
Lauren called me in a panic one day because she's like, we need numbers for the tables. And I'm like, okay, and I found them in 5 seconds. But like,
I know.
There was so much. And Lauren asked me, can you do the invitations? And I was like, sure.
But and invitation, not even just invitations, but the save the dates, which had to go out before the invitations. And then like planning how many people are going to come and what kind of food is going to be there and what kind of it was so much work. And like, I literally have 3 more gray hairs because of it. It was so much.
I'm like, that's the thing too. Our mother made it so much more complicated because she got all this extra stuff. Like, she got all these like cookies and like a cupcake truck and all this stuff. And like, you know, stuff that's not usually at a wedding. And we're like, Mom, like,
I will say, like, as extra as the cupcake truck was, it was probably the best part. Everyone remembered the cupcake truck.
oh, it's delicious. Because
And it was
yeah, like,
amazing. Because and the cake too. That was like a whole thing. I don't even remember seeing my cake until I went to go cut it on my wedding day. I was like, what did we do again? Oh yeah, that's right. So
and it was
it was
really
like-
pretty.
it was like in the back corner. No one saw it. I mean, whatever. But anyway.
Yeah, I will say the way your like reception was set up, it was like kind of not awkward, but like it was like a lot of like the important stuff was like hidden. Like you guys were at the very back. Like
Mhm.
your table was like at the very back of the room, like near the doors, which I thought was weird. I think it should have been done a different way, where it was like
well,
you
it's
guys
because
were like
the other
center.
side was the dance floor. You know.
No, I mean
So-
you could have put it against the other wall or another wall. Like where you were, it was like hidden behind all the tables.
I know. It was
Or
just
at
it
least
was,
it seemed.
that was the only complaint that I really had. Because let me explain before we even talk about that. So we initially were going to have it in Utah, but then and my mom was going to like book a place for like, you know, just a family celebration, you know, out in Connecticut or whatever. But it turned out that so many people in my family, friends, whoever wanted to come to our wedding. It was more than here, you know. I mean, there was some family and some friends that wanted to come here, but it was like 4 times as much doing in Connecticut. So we're like, well, we might as well just do it in Connecticut because, you know, it wouldn't be worth the money just to have 30 people show up when we want at least 100, you know?
All right.
So we ended up doing it in Connecticut for that reason. And it was just, it worked out better that way anyways, because I will say in Utah, it's not very formal. It's very like the venues here, the one we went to anyways. First of all, the guy was kind of an ass, like very set in his ways. We weren't allowed to drink. We weren't allowed to bring stuff in. He didn't want party favors. He didn't want this. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck this place. Like, yeah, it's cheap
Bro, it's
or
not
whatever.
your wedding.
Well, exactly. And it was like cheap and stuff, but like for that price, like I paid more for my dress than we would have for that venue. You know, it's like we're might as well put in all this money for this and stuff, you know, and
Right.
make it worthwhile. We're only doing this one time. Like I don't want to cheapen it with this shit or whatever. So we ended up like canceling it, and we got some of our deposit back and like all whatever. So now in our actual wedding venue was a place in Winsted, Connecticut called Crystal Peak, and it is beautiful. It like the middle of nowhere. It's all trees around and this big,
So
beautiful
quiet.
building. It's quiet. I mean, there was a room for a party in there, that's for sure. So
Yeah, it was beautiful. And like too bad though, because like the day of your wedding it like rained, and because like they have the outdoor area where you get married outside.
and that
And-
was beautiful, but it rained that morning and it was still wet, so we had to move it inside.
But it was also like, thank God, because it was so muggy too. There was all these little bugs and everything everywhere, like flying in front of you. It was
Yeah, and it was humid. My hair got fucked up halfway through because of the humidity, and it was anyway.
yeah, same. It was
So-
not a good time.
Yeah, but it was for June 24th of this year, 2023, and oh my gosh, even just okay. I'm never flying in June again, and I'm gonna explain why. You ready for a fucking story? Because we literally almost missed our own wedding.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this.
Okay, so here we go. My husband coming through and making a terrible situation great. The morning, okay, so we booked our flight for the 19th of June, which was a Monday. And we were going to do a red eye, get there Tuesday morning, and then we have time, like all Tuesday, to get our marriage license, to, you know, go do the things we need to do, to rest, to whatever. So we leave before we even left our apartment, and I knew this was a bad omen. We lost power for at least an hour, I think.
Yeah.
And of course, it was right before we were going to go. And of course, as soon as the power goes out, my husband looks at me and he's like, I have to shit right now. And I'm just like, Like, right, like, you can't wait. He's like, I don't know how long it's going to take. He goes into the on our bathroom in our apartment, there's no windows. He goes into the bathroom with the headlamp that miners use in caves. Because he goes camping and shit, so he had one. And he brought his acoustic guitar into the bathroom. And he's pooping while playing his guitar in the dark, pitch black. I should have taken a video because no one... It's like something you would have to see to believe, I feel like. And he's like playing fucking Du Hast on the guitar while pinching a turd out of his butt. And I'm just like, you know... I mean, it was hilarious now. I was like dying laughing, but like... even at the time, I was still stressed. I'm like, okay, well, at least it's a bit of a comic relief. And of course, 2 minutes after he gets out of the bathroom, the power comes back on. So we're like, great. Go to the airport. Because we left our car here. My mother-in-law brought us to the airport. And I think my father-in-law was there too. Anyway, they brought us to the airport. And we ate dinner beforehand. Our flight was for 10 o'clock at night. So we got there around 7:30, 8 o'clock, you know, just in case. And so we get there and we're waiting and we're waiting. And we're taking a direct flight through JetBlue from Salt Lake City to Boston. So we're waiting and we're waiting and we're fucking waiting. And finally we get on the plane. We're sitting there. We're all ready to go. And I hate planes, so I was like having a panic attack halfway through. And I'm like, I know I'm going to be fine as soon as we're up in the air, but I just hate like the build up to getting up there. It's like the worst part. And they're like the captain comes over, the announcer is like, oh, we saw something come on with our check engine light or check whatever light. And we have to just look at it. It's going to be another 30 minutes and then we'll be up in the air. Okay. 30 minutes go by, comes back on. Folks, this is looking like a little bit of a bigger problem than we thought, and we're going to need our technician to come out. It's going to take at least another 30 minutes to an hour. Please hold tight. We'll bring snacks around. We're so sorry. So now we're on the plane. It's now probably 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. We're sitting there, and we're exhausted, and we just want to get going. Midnight comes around. Folks, we're going to have to start deboarding the plane because this is looking like a bigger issue than we thought. And we don't know when we'll be able to let you back on, but we really don't want you sitting in this heat and blah, blah, blah. Because it's June, it's hot. So we get off the plane. Now I'm freaking out. You know, I have my wedding dress in my carry-on. I literally crammed it in there and it miraculously survived.
That's right.
And Quinn had his suit in his carry-on. Our bag is still like underneath, you know, the plane or whatever. And we're sitting there, and then it turns from 12 to 1, then 1:30, then 2, then 2:30. Still nothing. By 3:30 in the morning, there is not a soul left in the airport except our flight. They finally tell us that our flight got delayed until 5:30 p.m. that day. And I'm like, this is a nightmare. Like, this is actually a fucking nightmare. I had to tell my parents, you know, we had to call my mother-in-law to come pick us up. We mercifully only live 15, 20 minutes away from the airport. So it wasn't like a long drive, but we needed a ride home. And like, we get home at 4:30 in the morning and we're just like, we have to get some sleep and we're going to have to figure this out in the morning. I get up at 10 o'clock in the morning. I look at my phone because I have the JetBlue app and they update it with like information about your flight and stuff. The flight got delayed until 10:30 that night. And I was like, oh no, I'm just going to cancel this flight and we're going to have to find another one out of here. I called my mom. We're on the phone frantically looking for a flight, whether it was through JetBlue or Delta or whatever. We had to pay $2,000 to get us on a flight that day to JFK. And like, it was a nightmare. And then we finally, Delta came through. We found a direct flight to JFK. So that was good. But we were in like crap seats. We had like the nice premium seats for the flight there, but we had to switch to that because, you know, it was last minute. But that ended up being the better flight of the two flights.
Yeah.
And, like, despite it being in like crap seats, but like, it's like, our flight left at like 5:30, I think, Utah time. So it was like 7:30 Connecticut time. And we get to the airport at 3:30. We had to go back to the airport. I had to eat lunch, and I was like so tired and so defeated and so nervous. We get to the airport, we're waiting for our flight. We get on the plane. We actually got on earlier than we thought. And then we made it. We were up in the air. I was like, Quinn and I could have fucking tap danced on every fucking seat in that plane. We were so excited.
Well, what a fucking night. And fuck JetBlue for like, not being more upfront and direct about things, and like,
I know they couldn't give us an answer. All they did was give us snacks and say, we're so sorry for the inconvenience. If I had to hear, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience one more time, I was going to inconvenience everyone working for JetBlue by punching them all in the face. And I'm not kidding. I'm like, don't tell me about fucking inconvenience. Like, I wasn't like a Karen about it. Like, we never went to anyone and complained, but people did it for us. We didn't have to. It was crazy.
And I'm like, this is why I hate flying. And like, I also just am afraid of heights, and I don't do well on planes in general. But like the anxiety of like, having a flight delayed and not being to where you need to be on time and having to change and losing money and all that. Like, it's so like, they don't realize, I don't think, like, how one little thing like that can just negatively affect someone. $1,000 for 2 plane tickets is outrageous.
I know, it was ridiculous. And the thing about it too, once a day that flight goes out of Salt Lake City to Boston. Once a day. So even the flight for the next day from Salt Lake City to Boston got screwed over because of that plane issue. Because JetBlue just so happened to get all these new planes right before we were going to travel, and they all had problems. It was it was ridiculous.
Boring.
So I like anger burped. So we flew Delta, and it was way better, and they were so much better, more accommodating. We got more snacks. They were nicer. It's like,
even more snacks on top of the pity snacks that you already got from JetBlue.
Yeah, and they had better movies. Like, fuck you, JetBlue. They had The Parent Trap, okay? I watched The Parent Trap. It was great. So
I love The Parent Trap.
Me too.
Like,
and it wasn't the original.
Lohan
it was the Lindsay Lohan ones. So good. But
like, I don't know why, like, before Lindsay Lohan like completely lost her collective shit, that movie was just, I don't know, because we watched it a lot as kids. So like,
yeah.
So like, and of course, like, how fitting, you're flying home to see your twin sister watching a movie about twins.
Yes, and the parents get married. Like, it was the perfect movie to watch.
You're sitting on the plane, like, sobbing, and Quinn's still playing the acoustic guitar with the light on his head.
Oh, and I also watched Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen movie,
I still need to watch that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I had to watch it when I first moved to Utah because my mother-in-law insisted. And then I watched it going there, and it was so great. It like killed 4.5 hours on a plane, or however long it was. So
dude, I'm telling you, also, like, when you called me when all of this was happening, I was like, oh my God. And of course I had to like work the next day. So I'm like sitting there working, like, paranoid. And then when you're like, we're in the air, I was like, yay. But like, it fucked with our plans because that went, so you left on a Tuesday, got here Wednesday morning. So that Wednesday was supposed to be like our day to like hang out, like the one day we had to like actually just hang out and spend time together, whatever. Couldn't do it because you missed a day. So we had to reschedule everything because you had to go get your marriage license and all that shit.
Right.
So
it was terrible. But like, but we had to go to JFK because that's the only direct flight they had in that area, that none to Boston. And JFK is an actual nightmare. I hate going there, but we had to. It was our only option. And we had a driver pick us up. My mom uses this car service whenever they go on like vacation, or like whenever we come, like, to come pick us up, because that way we don't have to drive 2.5 hours and we just pay someone to do it. And he was going to drive us for the wedding, And oh my gosh. So by the time we got there, if it was a 4.5 hour flight, we left at like 5:30. So it had to be like, no, it was way later. Maybe we left at like 7:30. Anyway, it was probably like around midnight, 1 a.m. by the time we got out of JFK with all of our bags and everything. And we get to my parents' house at 3:30 Wednesday morning. We had been going from Monday afternoon to early Wednesday morning. That is how long it took us to get to Connecticut for my own wedding.
It's insane.
We almost didn't make it. And like my dad, just because where they live on a dead end. There's no one around them. He knew we were coming and we were like 10 minutes away. So he left the door unlocked and he was like sleeping on the couch. I walked into their house. My dad asleep on the couch. I woke him up and he shoots right up and he hugs me and he went and got my mom and we were all like crying. It was like great. So we finally got there. It was like 5 a.m. by the time we went to bed, you know. And Quinn and I slept for a little bit. And then that's when I saw Megan the next day and everything. We had to get her marriage license and we went to dinner and Quinn's family got in that Wednesday with no issue. Lucky
of course.
them.
She was leaving.
Yeah, well, that I was going to get into that after, but
yeah.
We were all there. We got pizza. It was the best. I was so happy that day. I'm like, I'm just happy to be in Connecticut. The wedding's coming. Like everyone's together. Like I'm so happy because the only family that came for Quinn were his parents and his brother Tyler, and that's it. Because Tyler was the best man. His 2 other brothers couldn't come. His grandpa obviously can't travel. Like aunts, uncles, whoever, cousins, like no one came, and I feel bad about that. You know, it was mainly like my family, and no one else could go. But it kind of just worked out better that way, anyways.
All right.
Because Tyler ended up leaving that Sunday, so he didn't even stay like the full week. And then it was just, you know, my in-laws and stuff, and they ended up their flight going home. They had a layover in Minneapolis, and the flight to Minneapolis got canceled because Boston was having so many problems, and JFK were having so many flight problems during that time. So their flight from Boston got canceled. And which means they missed their flight from Minneapolis. So they couldn't find another flight till 2 days after. So they ended up staying an extra 2 days with my parents. And they left at like 5 a.m. Thursday morning. It was crazy. I don't know what was going on. Like air travel lately, so fucking, especially in the summer. If you can, do not fly in the summer. Just drive. It's so much easier.
Yeah, I don't know why that kept happening. Like, even because I had taken off of work from that Wednesday, the Wednesday you got in, to the following week. So I had like 1 full week off of work. And so when all this is happening, like you're texting me, I'm like trying to like, you know, because we were all prepared to have you there Tuesday morning. And I mean, I had to work anyway, but I thought you were going to come over when I got off and, you know, everything. But like, it's just crazy how like, because I felt so bad. You were like in shambles, and I'm like literally like working because I worked in the call center basically. So I'm sitting there helping someone else, and then like texting Lauren while I'm helping someone because I'm like, I just felt so bad, you know. But like once you were here,
I know, and I was like ripping. Not to interrupt you, but I was like ripping mad. Because I was like, I should have just had it in Utah. I should have been distressed before my own wedding. Like, I was so mad at everyone and everything. And if one more person looked at me like they were like disgruntled with something about me, I was going to kick their ass. Like, I was really in that mindset.
But oh, I know. I've never seen Lauren that angry before.
Oh,
and like,
God.
But then once you were here and I saw you and we watched SpongeBob or whatever we did, and we were like, yay.
Oh, I could finally relax.
Yeah, like I was like, check out my new couch. And then we like all collectively took a nap or something. I honestly don't remember. Like it was only back in June, and like that whole week was so crazy because the Wednesday you got here was the one day you had basically, aside from getting the marriage license, to like just kind of relax, you know? Right. And then, because then that Thursday was the rehearsal.
Yeah, and I went for my trial for my hair and makeup for the wedding too. So I had
Right.
to get up early because my mother booked all these appointments for 10 o'clock in the morning, which I don't know why. I'm like, can I just sleep a little bit? I'm jet lagged, you know? But I had to get up 10 in the morning. It took 2 hours to get my hair done, 2 hours to get my makeup done. So by the time we left, it was like what? Let me tell you, 2 in the afternoon. And the rehearsal was at 5. So I had, and it took about half an hour to get there. My mom was driving us, and same with my friend Allie. We had to go pick her up for the rehearsal and everything.
It was a bridesmaid.
Well, yes. Because I only had 3 bridesmaids. It was Megan was my maid of honor, and then my friend Allie, and then my cousin Sydney. So just 3. And then Quinn had his brother Tyler, and then my 2 cousins Tyler and Luke. So
2 Tylers.
2 Tylers. So it was a smaller wedding party, but it was perfect. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I didn't want a lot of bridesmaids and groomsmen and whatever. It was perfect for us. So
Yeah. No, it was great. And like
sorry.
know, it was crazy because like originally, if you want to get into this, Lauren had someone else, her friend Rachel, as one of the bridesmaids.
Oh yeah.
And then that did not work out very well.
Well, no, because I've known Rachel for a very long time. We've always been close. We've always wanted to meet each other. She lives in Canada. So I was like, here's the time to do it because we have a year to plan it. She could save up money, come for the wedding, whatever. And all she would have to do is buy a plane ticket and buy a bridesmaid dress. We even paid for a hotel room for her. That's how much I wanted her to come, and be in the wedding. Let me tell you something. I never been so disrespected in my life because this is the first time I ever asked Rachel for something, like, could you do this for me? And that's when her true colors started to show, that she was more prioritized with looking cute and getting like all this stuff for herself and going on vacations herself before she could even think about my wedding, which was one of the most important days, if not the most important day of my life. And like, she was all about her. And then she gets her dress and her tits are hanging out of it. And she just thinks it's so funny. Like she's not going to get it tailored and just show up with like cleavage showing like that. Like, it's just cute. And I'm like,
yeah, no, that was not
cute. Hosted someone's wedding with that much cleavage showing, unless you're a fucking hoe ass bitch. So I'm like, that's it. I can't do this. And I had asked her over and over and over and fucking over again to get that flight, to get that dress, because we had to make final arrangements, for the hotel room, for, I booked pedicures and manicures for everyone. I booked, all this stuff to do with the bridesmaids. So I had to make sure I knew when she was going to be there. And if she needed accommodations for like traveling, we set that up, and she just she's like, well, I don't really want this flight. I want to make sure I can stay for as long as possible, but only 3 days though. And it's like, well, what is it? And I'm just like, that's it. I literally messaged her and I was like, I'm so done with this. Like, you just do not take me seriously or my wedding seriously. This is the first and only time I've ever asked you to do something for me. And it was like a blatant disregard, and I was so mad. And I'm like, that's it. You're uninvited from the wedding. You're not in the wedding party. And frankly, I don't want to talk to you anymore because you have changed as a person in the last year for the worse, in that year from the time I got engaged to the time before I got married, she just like became very superficial and all about herself and having a hot girl summer and all this dumb shit that people fucking do.
Yeah. Like she dropped like a bunch of weight, which is fantastic. Like all, I'm still proud of her for doing that. But then with that came an ego rather than, being, for lack of a better word, humble about it and being like, okay, yeah, like I lost all this weight. I have my freedom. But no, she just cared about like being like an Instagram model and all this stupid shit. And it's just like, and like you had asked her like every other week about getting the dress, getting the flight. And it's not like she had to do much.
2 things. They're all like, I would have gave her a bouquet. I bought all the bridesmaids custom robes, like in slippers. Like I got everything else ready, even the hotel, which saves a ton of money.
And this falling out happened literally a month before the wedding. A month.
Yes, it was exactly a month before the wedding happened, or maybe just a little over a month before. I'm like, that's it. I'm putting my foot down and I'm putting who I want in the wedding. So I called my friend Allie that day and asked her. She immediately bought the dress. She immediately made sure she was available for all the stuff that, I had planned. And she said she'd get back to me, whatever. She was ready to go for that wedding in 2 weeks. That's all she needed to do was get a dress, And like, it really showed you. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, and she got it tailored so her boobs weren't hanging out, like me and Sydney did too, because the dress itself, like,
it was a little low cut.
Just naturally came low, and I'm like, we could just, a tailor can pin that in like 3 seconds. So I was like, we'll get it, tailored or whatever. But Rachel was gonna fucking have her cleavage all over the place, like basically saying, I want to take the attention away from you, and that is just so disrespectful.
Not only that, but she didn't want to spend money on a tailor. That's the other part of it too. She rather would spend that money on another dumb tattoo than a fucking tailor. And it's
that was the greatest thing too, is like she's talking about like, oh, I don't know, I don't really have the money. And then we saw she went on like a cruise and got like this really ugly, expensive tattoo and like all this crazy stuff. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say ugly, but
it is ugly. Whatever. She's not gonna fucking listen to this. Like, she fucking like just spent all this money on herself and literally had no regard for the fact that one of her supposed best friends is getting married. And the dress was $99 fucking dollars. It was not expensive. Like, that she could have just went and bought so easily before all that.
Yeah,
for a hotel before that, or booked a flight before that, I should say. Because she was flying, where she lives in Canada is right above Detroit. Detroit to Connecticut is a 2-hour flight, if that. It's not that expensive compared to flying across the country, Right. She could have easily afforded a flight, but she would have rather had people pay for her or pay for stuff that doesn't fucking matter. I was so goddamn mad. So I blocked her. And well, actually, she blocked me before she never replied. She just blocked me. And I'm like, that really shows you everything. When you can't even fess up to the fact that you fucking did that shit and just block someone immediately. Not even just me, Megan, Quinn, like everyone, all at once.
Yeah, and if she really didn't want to be in that wedding that bad, like she could have just said, like, I don't feel comfortable being in the wedding. Like there's so many different ways she could have like addressed this and like, without it being an absolute shit show, but that's the route she decided to take because she has like a superiority complex, because I hate to say it, like as soon as she started, because she does like makeup and she goes to like cosmetology school, as soon as she started doing that, her attitude really fucking changed. Like she became way more shallow, way more just like, I don't know, she wasn't herself, like, and I had known her as long as Lauren had. We weren't as close, but she was, still message me every once in a while and stuff like that too. But as soon as she started doing this stuff, I never heard from her. All I saw was like pictures of her on Instagram.
I don't want to drag her through the mud or whatever. It's not about her, but it's just, I'm so tired of people doing this shit. Just like the second you think you look hot, like just suddenly your whole attitude changes. It drives me nuts.
That was my point. There's a difference between like feeling good about yourself and like being arrogant. Like, and I don't think she realized that. I don't think she realized she was doing that at all. Like, I thought she felt like she was justified, and I was so livid because that could have been avoided months before the wedding. If she had just like said something, and like then we had to scramble. She put you in a terrible position. And I was fucking furious about that.
I know. But it worked out for the best, and Allie got to be there. She's like, I've known Allie since I was 11 years old. We're gonna get her on the podcast at some point. She has her own podcast, and we'll get her on at some point. But like, oh my gosh, like it was like night and day from how it probably could have been, honestly. So I'm so happy it worked out the way it did, and like she was there for everything, and it was great.
Yeah, no, I know. It turned out to be way better. And then, because we saw her for the rehearsal, and then the next day we went and got the pedicures and everything, got all of our nails done. And
yeah, which the rehearsal, by the way, was great, and we had a rehearsal dinner at J. Timothy's, and we had all this, the wings and my brother-in-law was so chuffed about those wings because, you know, he's never had them before. Like, if anyone doesn't know, J. Timothy's is like the #1 wing in the United States, and it's literally award-winning. It is the best chicken wing you'll ever have. And he had never had them before, and he got a plate. I mean, I'm talking like a full plate of wings and tore it up. It was the happiest I've ever seen him. I was so excited for him.
But that's the thing, like, we always took it for granted because from where I am, like, it's not that far. It's under 10 minutes
away. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, we were, oh, yeah, we could go to J. Timothy's, whatever, just, like, get it to go. Because, like, trying to eat there, you're waiting forever to get it. It's always, no matter what time or what day you go, it is always packed.
Yeah.
Always.
That was the first time I took Quinn to J. Timothy's. He saved the sauce in a little Tupperware and had it the whole week he was there. Literally. It was so funny.
I mean, it's delicious. But yeah, no, because we went to J. Timothy's, and like, it was just really nice to like have everyone. It was like the precursor to the actual wedding because we had everybody all in one place, and it was just nice to, like, you know, be able to relax and enjoy ourselves finally, because the wedding stress was, like, you know, still
building
there.
up. It was in the final stages. There was nothing more else we could do, and we brought all of our stuff, all the decorations, and it was in their hands to set it up, and we were ready. We were good to go and ready. So that Friday, you know, we really took it easy, and like, we got her manicure, pedicure that I treated everyone to, and all the bridesmaids, I should say. And then we had people over, like my parents. We shouldn't have done this, but my parents wanted to have barbecue and have people over for that and stuff. And it was whatever. I'm just like, we didn't.
Well, because they did that Friday, and then Sunday too, they had everybody over, and like, that's a lot to like.
Sunday I could see, but Friday we didn't need to. I wanted to relax. So, especially because Quinn went and stayed at the hotel Friday, because it's tradition usually that we don't see each other till right before we get married and stuff. So he went and slept at the hotel that night, and I was at home at my parents' house, you know, and so I wanted to spend time with him before he had to go, because that whole week Quinn and I barely spent time together because we were rushing all over the place until our actual wedding day. So
right,
but then the day the wedding comes, oh, it was amazing. The whole wedding was amazing. I was so happy with it because the style of the wedding we had was like a rustic style, and our color was green. So all the bridesmaids and groomsmen had green on, like the green dresses, green ties and everything, like a forest green almost, or like an emerald green. And
it was like a foresty emerald green. It was really pretty.
Yeah, it was a beautiful dark green, almost like phthalo green, but a little bit lighter. And
oh god, do I have to put in the Bob Ross music because we said phthalo green?
Yeah, all right, go ahead, put it in.
All right,
but
all right, please continue.
Okay, what was I going to say? I had to get up at 7 a.m, and the women. It was a salon in Bristol, you know, where my parents live. There was like the owner and 2 of the hairdressers came. One did my makeup, one did my hair, and the owner was just kind of just helping everybody. Like, it wasn't just me and the bridesmaids. It was my mom, my aunt, and my mother-in-law also got all their hair done and stuff. But I was the only one who got makeup done. So, you know, everyone's getting ready. There's like 10 of us in the house, and my dad's coming in and out and stuff, and, you know, going back and forth to the hotel. And my mom got like breakfast for us that morning of this like bagel with fruit platter and all this stuff. I was so stressed I couldn't even eat. But Nancy, owner, she's like, "Do you need anything? Can I get you a water, a bagel? What do you need from me?" She was the best.
I love Nancy.
She was the glue that morning. Honest to God, I would have crumpled if it wasn't for her. She killed it, along with everybody else too, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, and everyone finishes by like noon, I'd say, you know. And then I had to go put my dress on, and then we got a videographer and a photographer, and the videographer shows up, and what kills me is that Allie looks at me and Megan and goes, "Can we agree that he is hot?"
And to be honest, yes, the fuck he was.
Yeah, he was. And like, I even told Quinn that my husband is so secure in our relationship. He agrees with me when I'm like, that guy's pretty fine. And he's like, yeah, I see it. You know, like he doesn't care like at all. You know, that's how you know you're in a good relationship.
All right.
But he showed up. The photographer happened to be my mom's next door neighbor, just walks across the lawn. You know, comes over, takes pictures. We have some beautiful pictures. The video's beautiful. They were incredible. And I'm so happy with them. Like, so happy. So, I couldn't have asked anything better.
When I saw them, I was like, every single picture is great. Except every picture of me. Because I look terrible in all of them. I need to lose like 150 pounds.
Megan, please.
What?
We looked great.
I mean, my hair did look great.
Yeah. I wish I did my hair like you did. I thought it was better, honestly. But
what, just curled and not pinned back or anything?
Well, to the side. I should have put it to the side.
Oh, yeah. I don't really care. I never when I part my hair, I part it down the middle. And she looked at me when Willow was the girl who curled my hair, who I love. Mm-hmm. She does my hair normally. And she was like, do you want me to do a side part? You know, for the wedding. And I was like, yeah, sure. What the hell? I'm only going to be in 1,800 pictures today. So fuck it. Let's fuck my hair up. And when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this actually looks good. And
I loved it. I loved how she did your hair.
Yeah. Cause like when it's curled, it looks, if I wouldn't wear it like that straight, but like curled, it looked good. So yeah. I know like, well, you also had like all those, you had the veil and then you had all those clips and things.
I had hair. 2 clips because she twisted my hair like in 2 pieces down the top, and she put clips there, and then she put the veil in the middle, so it looked like a crown kind of in the back. It actually looked really good. I think my only thing I would have changed, she took 2 strands of my bangs and put them like in front of my face. I probably would have pinned those back because they were too distracting and they got too greasy. Because I have unbelievably oily hair, so like after a while it just looks greasy and gross. You know,
I thought it looked fine. I think,
yeah, or maybe it just would have done 1 instead of 2 or something, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's done. And oh my gosh, all the pictures, everyone was like crying. It was great. So,
and like literally our entire family, like people we haven't seen in like over a decade.
Yeah, I would say 10 years or more, probably.
Like everybody was there. And like, after the actual, like, you know, the ceremony where you got married, which was very quick. I was surprised at like how short it was.
Well, because Robert, who is my dad's cousin, my second cousin, he officiated the wedding. So he made it very quick, very easy. We did not want a long ceremony. I think the longest part was us telling each other our vows, and that was it.
Yeah.
So the ceremony was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if that. It was unbelievably quick. And that's how I wanted it. Because I wanted to enjoy myself. I wanted to get the formalities out of the way.
Yeah. So, and like, then when that was over, we did the pictures outside, like the formal, like wedding photos with like the wedding party.
Shit ton of hors d'oeuvres. I mean, tons of hors d'oeuvres.
Oh my God. And we were just, while everyone was getting pictures taken, me and Allie were literally like feeding each other. Like, you have to try this. No, wait, try this. Just like on the side, like, shoving food into our faces because the stress of the wedding was finally over. Well, for the most part, and we were like starving. So,
oh my gosh, I know we were so hungry by the time like we went inside. Oh my God, because Quinn and I were in every picture, so it's like we only got like 2 hors d'oeuvres.
I know. I was trying to like feed you hors d'oeuvres like between like pictures. I'm like, Lauren, eat this.
You know, I got fucking wing sauce on the lace on my bouquet, and I was so pissed. It's still there, but whatever.
Oh,
it's kind of funny.
You can get it out.
Well, I mean, it's out, but it's like a little green stain. Because I think Mom tried to get it out, and it just kind of left a mark.
Yeah. Well, that'll happen. Okay. I mean, you can't notice. But
yeah. Anyway,
like once the pictures are taken, I went in because when they cleared the bridesmaids, and they were like, "All right, you guys could go in," because it was 100 degrees outside. Not literally, but it was.
Well, it was hot and humid. It was like 70 degrees with like 100% humidity. It was terrible.
I looked like I fell into a pond. I was so wet.
I know my hair, all the curls in my hair just totally flat. My husband, who sweats more than anyone I've ever met, was like dripping by the time we got in there. You know,
Oh, it was
crazy.
yeah, but everyone's like, "Oh, you look great," and like, of course, that's the one time everybody wants to hug me because I haven't seen everyone in so long. If I had the option to put on a different dress, I would have done it, like something shorter because I was struggling. And like,
you could have. I didn't even think of it. You could have changed after we took the pictures and stuff.
I mean, I didn't bring anything with me, so I couldn't have anyway. But
Yeah.
like, thank you for giving us dresses with no sleeves on them because that helped so much. Like,
Oh, I know. I knew it was a June wedding in Connecticut. It was going to be hot. I'm not going to put you in a long sleeve.
Thank you. Because I felt so bad for the guys who had to wear like long sleeves and jackets over them. And yeah, no, as soon as I went in, like the first person to come up to me was my cousin Melissa, who I haven't seen. She lives down in North Carolina. I haven't seen her since, oh, my uncle passed away back in 2016. So and she came up for the wake and everything. And she like ran up to me and she's like, "You were not 31, you were 12." She's like, "I don't care what anyone says, you are 12 to me." So she cracked me up. And then my cousin Matt, her brother, was there too. We haven't seen Matt in I don't even know when.
He's one of the people who we haven't seen in like a decade or more.
And like he could literally be our brother. Like he looks exactly like us.
Yeah.
Like he looks like we were always very close growing up. He showed up wearing a cowboy hat and I was like, slay. And like, we were just like, is that Matt? And we were like, holy shit. So he sat at my table with us.
I didn't know he was coming until about a month or two before the wedding. Like he RSVP'd literally just in time. And I was like, I didn't realize Matt was coming. So that's why I put you guys at the table. Cause I'm like, I didn't have a lot of friends come. So I kind of put them and then my cousins, Matt and Melissa and her fiance, Ty, all at one table. So it was like 10 people. I wanted to join that table. I'm like, I don't want to sit up here with just me and Quinn. Like we would have went and sat over there.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. We were cry laughing because everyone sitting at that table were musicians, just about.
Yeah.
So including my ex. So that's what we were talking about, like starting a band. And it was hilarious.
I know because Melissa's a singer in a band. Matt's done drums in bands before.
Matt plays everything.
Huh?
Oh, he plays everything.
I know, but primarily drums. And like my friend Pat, guitarist, you know, same with your ex. Like everyone's a musician sitting there. It's crazy.
We thought that was hilarious. And Melissa's like, we could start a band. And of course, my ex had to be an asshole and be like, well, are you any good? And I was like, would you fucking... I honestly wanted to throw him in the trash that day. Like,
I know, just take him out with the rest of the trash. Honestly, we'll get into like why next episode.
But like the wedding was great for me, except for dealing with him and like for a couple reasons. But otherwise, no, like that. I know I felt so bad. I wish you could have but everybody was going up to you, like all of our relatives, like my mom's friends, my dad's friends, and coworkers, and you know, it was just like a ton of people. Like
my brother-in-law got fucking hammered and like was sick the next morning because of it. And like, oh, drunk Tyler's so fun. It's like my favorite thing. And like, he was like wiping sweat off of my forehead, and he was like, him and Quinn were having like the best time. I mean, it was the best time. First of all, the food, I forgot. Let me just get to that really fast.
Oh my God.
The actual dinner we had was incredible. We had cranberry stuffed pork loin and steak and truffle mac and cheese and all the like amazing. And the guy who owns the place makes all the food. Incredible food.
I mean, it was so good. Like we were, and like I couldn't even begin to express like how happy I was just to be sitting down and eating at that point. Like,
oh, it was amazing. Quinn and I ate everything, and like, of course, we had to go up there first and you know get our food before everyone else could. But everyone kept stopping me, and I'm like, I gotta go eat. Like, otherwise, you won't be able to eat. Like, I have to go.
Yeah.
So we kind of just beelined it and just, you know, had to just ignore everyone for a minute. But the good thing though is We were supposed to fill up the place to 125 people. We only had 100. So the owner, he basically made us extra food to take home for the next day, like about 30 people's worth of food. And it was like, what was it? Like a brisket with like a blueberry glaze and potato salad and like all this like barbecue stuff. It was incredible. It was so good.
So the next day when we had everybody over, that's what we ate, was all the extra food. And there was still like enough to feed, like, I don't even know how many people showed up.
Because
it
wasn't just that food. We took food home from the wedding. We took food home from the rehearsal dinner. We had food from the other barbecue that Friday. We had so much food. I think from the time we were there until we left, all we had was leftovers, except when we went to Lenny and Joe's. That was it.
Yeah. And like when you guys had left, like officially left Connecticut, your wedding cake was still left over. Our parents gave it to me to like, oh, here's the rest of the cake.
And
I
told them to.
This.
I told them to give it to you. I'm like, give it to Meg. She'll eat it, you know.
But it took me 2 months to get through all of that.
I know. Well, because our wedding cake, it was a 3-tier cake, and the bottom 2 were just like a marble chocolate vanilla, but the top layer was red velvet with the cheesecake frosting, you know?
Yeah.
Or cream cheese, not cheesecake. You know what I mean? And I know our cake was good. It's just the top layer was lopsided, and that bothered me, and that was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like it looked amazing. And and we had a cupcake truck, which was iconic. And like I feel like not a lot of people would do that. And it's like we had 4 different cupcakes. It was a Biscoff one called the Cookie Monster, it was cookies and cream. We had the Lucy, which was like a lemonade cupcake with strawberry frosting.
My favorite.
A banana cream pie. It was amazing.
They were all so good. The Lucy was the best. And not just because I love Lucille Ball. It was actually the best one.
I got the Biscoff, and I love Biscoff so much.
That was my first time ever trying it, was at your wedding.
Really? Well, they have it here in Utah more than Connecticut.
I've never seen
cookie butter here, and that was incredible.
I mean, that's basically what Biscoff is, right? Cookie butter?
No, it's cookies. It's actual cookies, but they made it into a cookie butter.
I see.
They kind of look like whiter biscotti, but they're not as dry.
Gotcha. I do love a good biscotti, though.
They were topped with actual Biscoff cookies, actually. So...
And it's funny because like they serve coffee at your wedding. I didn't see many people drink it, but our friend Pat, who went to the wedding, he drank coffee, and I'm like, thank you for doing like my Italian ancestors like right, because like someone had to drink coffee at this wedding for it to be an Italian wedding.
Did? He's like the pickiest eater, and he had coffee?
Yeah, coffee.
Good for him, I guess. I didn't even have coffee.
I was sweating so much. I'm like, if I drink coffee right now, I would hit the deck. Like my body would dehydrate like a piece of beef jerky and I would die. Like I was so sweaty.
I know it was hot, but inside it was cool, but it was still hot with all the people because everyone was dancing and drinking and singing and moving to the grooving and all that stuff. So, anyway, the wedding was great. It really turned out great. We were only there till 10 o'clock. It was actually a pretty early wedding because I'm exhausted. Like, I'm ready to go. And like, we were going to stay at the hotel that night. Megan took off a little bit early because her ex didn't want to be there. And that's not her fault.
Yeah, it made me leave. So, and when I got home, I took a shower because I was so disgusting from sweating and everything and hairspray and everything else. I literally took a half an hour long shower because I was so just caked on with makeup. And
I know I had to do it in the morning. I was exhausted because people who were staying at the hotel were going to go down to the bar there and have a drink and stuff. And my mom's like, well, you should come. But I'm like, oh, all right. And then we get to our suite. It's where all the groomsmen got ready that morning and they fucking trashed the place. I just spent 30 minutes cleaning up the suite before I could even go downstairs. I'm like, I'm going to kill all my cousins. Fuck you guys. Like, you couldn't pick it up. And I looked at Quinn too. I'm like, you couldn't pick this up before you left? He's like, well, I was getting ready. I'm like, Yeah, but there's food everywhere. Like, pick it up, put it in the garbage. You know, like, Christ,
Ugh.
I'm not cleaning on my wedding night. It's ridiculous.
That's the thing too. Like, Mom, oh, you should come down. Like, did she understand like what you do on your wedding night? Like, you know, like you're supposed to.
No, she wanted
Have a
everyone to go
wedding.
to our room, but I'm like, no, we'll go down. Like,
What
didn't
is
stay long,
wrong
though.
with her? Like, what the fuck does? I'm sorry. Like, I love my mother, but I remember she told Trent and I that like, oh, you should come and like, well, you could just go up to the room and hang out. And I'm like, and we looked at her like, Ma, you do realize like what people do on their wedding night, right? Like, you don't go up into their room as a spectator. Like, I don't know what her like. I don't know. She went to Catholic school. Her mind just doesn't work the same. We had to explain to her what a pearl necklace was. It was a whole thing. So
That's a true story. But anyway, like, I was so exhausted. We did not go to bed till 3 a.m. I was up at 7 a.m. I had been up almost 24 hours, and I only got 6 hours of sleep because we had to check out by like 11. So I had to get up at least 9 o'clock to shower, to pack our shit, make sure we have everything, and bring it back to the house because no one's staying at the hotel now after the wedding. You know, everyone's going home. And my brother-in-law flew out that morning, and then my in-laws were going to come stay with us in my parents' house. So literally no one was going to be at the hotel. So we had to pack everything up. We also got strawberries and champagne from the hotel staff. That was very nice.
I love that.
And we went back, and everyone came over that day, like my cousins and some of my mom's friends and everyone, and we got to see everyone after the wedding because I didn't get to talk to everyone that day. I mean, I said thank you to everyone, but I didn't get to talk to everyone. So, you know, everyone came over for a little bit, and we had food and we hung out, and oh my gosh, I was so exhausted. And then we left that Tuesday, but that Monday before we left, we took my in-laws to the shore because we're landlocked here. You know, I miss the beach. And my mother-in-law isn't like the biggest fan of like seafood and stuff, but we're like, we'll take you to this place, Lenny and Joe's. You're going to try it, and you're going to be like, this is some damn good seafood. I guarantee you. You're just not eating the good stuff because you're landlocked. So that's what we did. And it was so good. Oh my gosh. I dream about Lenny and Joe's.
And then you guys came by after to like say goodbye to me because you weren't going to see me the next day. And
yeah, because we had to leave 10 a.m. Tuesday.
They brought all the leftover seafood. They were like, here, do you want this? And I was like, I shed a single tear, and I was like, thank you. I was so happy because it was like scallops and I don't even know what else.
It was the platter. So it was like scallops, steamers, clam strips, and I think that was it, honestly. Maybe some crab in there. I'm not sure.
Or it was like cod or something, like fried cod.
It was cod. It was like fried fish and like fries and stuff with the tartar sauce. So good.
Damn, now I want Lenny and Joe's. Too bad they're not closer. Otherwise, I'd like call up DoorDash and be like, hey.
Yeah. Imagine.
If I could DoorDash Lenny and Joe's, my life would be different right now. But
dude, I feel that. At least the bar that's around the corner from my house, they have great food. They have clam strips there. And that is enough for me.
I mean, there you go. I mean, I just honestly now, like I just buy scallops from the store, and I just deep fry them myself here. I'm telling you, like I've done that before where I've gotten like a pound of scallops and just deep fried them and then like ate them all.
Right.
It's the best thing on the planet. So yeah, that was basically the week. Lauren was home, and then Tuesday they flew back with no
Tuesday
issues.
Morning. Yeah, well, the only issue, because now we actually took JetBlue home and we actually made our flight, thank the good Lord above. But we had a delay because the Boston airport, Logan Airport in Boston, it was backed up because there was a shit ton of storms in the Midwest that day. Of course, you know. So we had about a 2-hour delay sitting on the plane, and it was the longer flight. And the whole time I had a kid kicking me behind me. And it was so great. I was so happy about it.
I'm sure when you got home, you just collapsed into your pillow.
Oh, well, let me tell you. So we get home. It's like, because it's a 5.5-hour flight because we're going east to west, which takes longer than going west to east. So we're on this plane till like 10 o'clock at night, our time, when we should have been here at like 11 o'clock at night. We should have been here like a little before 10. So, and my other brother-in-law was going to come pick us up because he lives the town over from us. So it would have been easier that. And my in-laws are still in Connecticut. And then Tyler got home and he was sick, but he's like, if Patrick can't bring you, my other brother-in-law, Patrick, can't pick you up, I'll bring you home and it'll be okay. It was like a last resort. And we would have to mask up, like whatever. But Patrick made it. And the whole 20 minutes home is blaring dubstep in the car. After being on a plane for 8 hours, in an airports all day, dealing with cabin pressure and all that shit, he's blaring dubstep. I literally could have taken him by the hair and thrown him out the window. I was so mad.
Like, you didn't tell him, like, turn the music off?
Well, mercifully, his girlfriend Lexi, who is an actual savior, called him halfway through the car ride, and he didn't turn it back on after she called. So
Thank God.
I was like, oh, so for like, well, it was more like 10 minutes then. For like 10 minutes, it was like blaring dubstep. And then she was calling to see where he was. And I talked to her. I'm like, because he had her on like over speaker or whatever. I'm like, sorry, he's just dropping us off. He's going to be home in a little bit. So she's like, okay. I was just wondering. She's so sweet. And we get home. It's like close to midnight. We should have been home at like 10 o'clock. It's close to midnight at this point. Thank God Quinn took the next day off because we needed to sleep. We got home. I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and I ate my combos that I got at the airport and I crawled into bed and I died for probably 8.5 hours.
Yeah. I remember I called you like a couple days later and you were like, help. Like my limbs hurt.
I'm like, I am so sore. Like it was a lot, but it was a great time. Like
it was great, honestly. Like aside from all the chaos and then, my mother changing plans every 3 seconds.
I know. And the best part, which I didn't even say, was my husband, who is a metalhead like me. The DJ we hired was awesome because he got a feel for what kind of music we like. So he put on more like rock music and metal and stuff like that. He puts on fucking Metallica. And like my husband, who is the biggest Metallica fan on this planet, could not help himself. He is windmilling and sliding on the ground and like literally having a full concert for like 20 people who are watching him and just going crazy. And Tyler too. They were so funny. They were like doing a circle pit. But like anyway, my husband goes to slide and like pretend to do like a guitar solo on the ground. Right when he slides, tore his entire pants. I mean, it wasn't even just a rip. The entire crotch is gone on these pants.
Oh my God.
There's barely any pant left. And he looks at me after the song is over. And I was like, did you enjoy yourself? He's like, I ripped my pants. And I was like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. We'll fix it after. He's like, no, I mean, I ripped my pants. And I'm like, how bad is it? And I look, it's torn. There's no ass on those pants anymore. We were dying. And I look at my mom who sees me crying with laughter. And I'm like, Mom, he ripped his pants. It's the hardest I've ever seen her laugh in her life. We were inconsolably laughing. And so now
that happened after I left.
I know. So now we have the pants still. I bought a shadow box and I'm going to put them in the shadow box with our vows. And it's so funny that, of course, my husband on our wedding night just cannot control himself and ripped his fucking pants. Because he does it all the time. He does it with his work pants constantly. It drives me crazy. I'm like, be careful with the pants. They're not jeans. They are pleated pants, like dress pants.
I'm dying. Oh, that will never not be funny. And then the next day when everybody came over to eat or whatever, like Quinn showed me the pants and I literally fell to the floor. I was like,
yeah. Well, we had to. Because it's so hard to believe, but it happened. It really happened.
But the other reason I laughed is because I'm notorious for ripping my pants. Like,
Yeah.
I've done it so many times. Remember, I did it one year when we were at Rock and Shock. I completely tore my jeans open, and I'm like, we have to go. And I'm like, oh my God, my jeans are falling off. I have to go.
Well,
I'm like,
mercifully, we were staying over and you had different pants.
I just had to walk across the street and throw on leggings or something. That's why I wear leggings now. And it's not even because I don't mind wearing jeans, but like leggings don't rip as easily. When I wear jeans, they get destroyed. I'm like, what do I do?
It's our thighs, dude. It's when you have big thighs, it always rips holes in jeans. It's terrible.
And like they fit, like they're not too small for me or anything, but like I don't know if it's just the chafing. I don't know. Like
probably, and like the material just chafes so easily and just shreds, you know?
I was inconsolable because I'm like, he is one of us because that is exactly what I would have done if I was wearing pants.
Well, it's true. I mean,
oh my God, I was hysterical. So I know, like, I made the joke about getting this shadow box, and I'm like, you should frame. And then Lauren actually did it.
I did. I have to actually make it still, but I have the shadow box. But anyway, that was my wedding. It was the best day of my life. It was so great. I'm so happy to be married to a wonderful man.
He is great. He is my brother now, my brother-in-law. So
I know. Yay. It's I guess the best part of it, I mean, yes, I get that, you know, connection and, you know, with someone for the rest of my life. But the other part is like, I have more family now because if you know me and Megan on a personal level, like we lost a lot of family members and friends. And it's like, it just seems like there was more loss than gain. But this time it was a gain. And it was like a lot of people because Quinn is a big family like we do. So it's like, it just felt so good to have that now. Like, it feels so good, I should say.
Yeah.
And just have like more family I can rely on, more family that we can go to, more family we can be connected to. And it's like, I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but like, I'm so happy about it, you know?
I mean, I'm happy for you. And honestly, like, they're like my family now because I get messages from Quinn's mom, your mother-in-law, sometimes. Yeah. And like, I hear from Quinn's brother sometimes because, of course, like, I met everyone when they came here for the wedding. And Tyler actually came and hung out with us the day before the wedding.
Days. Yeah.
And so we got to like actually like hang out with them and spend time and get to know them. So they're like family now. So no, I should say they're like family. They are.
Yep.
So
I mean, now like I'll call like Teresa and sometimes put Megan in the calls too. And like, we're all talking together. Like she constantly asks about like, how's your parents? How's your sister? How's your family doing? You know, because they're an extension of, you know, me and Quinn now. You know, it's like, it's more than just us. It's like, we have families, we have friends, we have people who are intertwined now. And it just feels good that we brought more people together, you know, just by being together. You know what I mean?
And like a couple of things too, because like I went back and listened to some of our episodes and we haven't had like many like positive things to say. You know, like there hasn't been like a lot of good things that have happened the last few years. And like, this is the most positive thing that has happened. And like, even just like all of our family together, because usually when all of our families together, it's like a funeral or someone died or it was a mass for someone or something, you know, it was always like kind of like a, you know, aside from Christmas, but like, you know, a somber
always like a morbid undertone to getting together.
Yeah, like, you know, and especially because my cousin Jim passed away 2 years ago in August of 2021, a couple months after Lauren left, you know, and so she didn't get to see him before he left. I didn't even get to see him before he passed. Like,
I talked to him, like I messaged him, but I didn't get to see him.
Yeah, so it was like we were sitting there like, man, I wish he could have been here. But honestly, like we were all having such a good time. It was like, it was just insane to us that we were all in the same, like all my dad's side of the family, we took like a huge group photo because there's like 100 of us. And like, you know, it's just like the last time we were in like a gathering like that, it was so long ago. So it like, it like brought our family together in a way that it hadn't in such a long time. And I thought that was just great, you know, and we didn't even realize that part of it until we actually sat down at the reception and like we're eating and we are seeing everyone, like literally everyone we've ever met in our entire lives is in that room. Like,
I know.
well, not everyone, but you know what I mean? Everyone that's still here with us. So, you know, it just
felt so good that I could do that for everyone, you know?
Yeah. And it was great. Like, I had a fucking blast. You know, I wish I stayed the whole time, but, you know, I had a fucking blast. And, you know, I'm glad you guys did too, and that it was worth it, you know, with all the plane delays and all the other shit that went with just planning a wedding and like things changing constantly. And, you know, it was a lot. So,
yeah.
I'm glad you loved it, but wow, we have been recording for a long time.
It's probably been like 2 hours we've been recording now. Jesus.
But I figured this for the first episode that we're back. Like now that, you know, we're recording again, it's like, we had a lot to say.
I know. It feels good. And it's like we needed to give context. It's been a while, so bear with us. That was a huge life event that happened. So yeah, it's good to talk about.
So sorry for being away so long. Hopefully it won't be another 2 years before we record another episode. No, we actually have a ton of stuff we want to do still, like we were saying earlier. And, you know,
it probably won't be as long as this one. This was, you know, because we're getting back into it. We had to explain ourselves, where we've been, what's been going on and everything. So, I mean, we'll get into what happened with Meg next episode. Because we wanted to start on a light note, not just get sad up right out the gate, you know?
Yeah, because that was like the best thing to happen this year. And then the worst thing to happen this year was my breakup. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. Yeah. I'm not going to get too much into detail. I just, you know, because there was a lot that fucking happened. It's just, you know. So I'm single now. Hey, y'all. If you're interested, hit me up. I'm just kidding. Actually, don't, because my inbox has not stopped blowing up since I've been single, and it's like, holy shit. But
I get it.
Not to like make myself sound like that, but I mean, it's literally what happened. It's like, once I broke up with him, it's like everyone that like I had, like, not even just romantically, but like, you know, friends and people like that, everybody was just like, Megan, are you okay? Like, are you back? So I've been talking to a lot more people lately. It's been great.
Yeah. It'll make more sense when we talk about it next time. So
yeah. So case in point, I'm in a better place now, but we'll talk more about it. And I'm glad we get to talk about the wedding because it was so much fun. It literally was a blast.
It was so great. It was everything I could have hoped for, honestly.
And I still have my dress. I have the robe that you got me with my name on it.
Yes.
And I still wear it sometimes. But it's like, it's not like a full like long sleeve robe. It like kind of stops at the elbow. So like in the summer, it's the best thing ever. Like when you're kind of cold, but not like, you know, freezing.
It's like a cool night, but it's not like cold yet. It's perfect. I love that robe.
I love it too, because I don't have anything like that. Well, I do, but I don't like wearing it. But
yeah.
So I actually do wear that. But anyway, so did you think of a song?
Yeah.
What's the song, Lauren?
Oh. I put Uncle Acid in this podcast a couple times, but this is another Uncle Acid song that I just started listening to recently called Melody Lane. Because my husband found it. I have Spotify Premium now because his mom basically put me on their family plan because they needed one more person. So now I get premium for free. And like I'm always listening to stuff on there. And one day Quinn was listening to that song though, and he kept playing it over and over again. And I'm like, I really like that song. And it was Uncle Acid. And I'm like, I just like it. That's all.
You know what's creepy is that that's one of the last songs Chris and I listened to together before he passed away.
Don't tell me that. Come on, man. It's already the spooky season.
It was Uncle Acid and Candlemass, one of the last. It was Epicus, the album Epicus from Candlemass, were one of the last things we listened to before he passed. Like literally on the way home when he was going to drop me off the last time I saw him. So,
shit.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
it's time
song
to
is
go
not
because the neighbor's dog has decided to start barking and it's going to drive me nuts.
so great. Well, I was gonna say it's not like a new song. Like it came out like I don't know how many years ago that was now 2016, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking great song. So we're gonna
Oh,
put
yeah.
that in.
Yes.
And so excited. We are back. We are doing this. Hopefully
We
it
are.
sounds good. I have to listen back to this. But
I know. Let's hope. I was going to put in a typo negative song, but I think I'm going to do that next time. So
typo negative. Oh yeah, because it's spooky season.
it's the spooky season.
I know, and usually we would like, on the podcast we'd have like ghost stories and stuff like that. You know what I think we're gonna do? And let me know if you're okay with this.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna talk about I go to see a medium regularly, and recently I saw a different medium, and I want to talk about that just briefly in the next episode. I don't know
Okay.
if like anyone is into that kind of thing, but
If you're not, I don't want to hear about it. I don't care about your opinion about it. If it helps people, it helps people. You don't need to be negative about it, please.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna still talk about it. I don't really care that you think it's a bunch of shit. Like it's what I choose to do. It's my life, my experiences. If you don't agree with them, that's okay. You can go listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. So
Yeah, or whatever. I mean,
or whatever.
yeah.
So all right, I'm gonna put that song in. We will be back next week. Next week we're doing an episode. It's gonna be about boundaries because this has been a running theme for this year. So
Right, because this is something we've been saying since the beginning of the year is it's time to start setting boundaries in like it's been working very well in our favor. And we're gonna go into that next time. But
in case in point, the thing with Rachel that we were talking about earlier, that was
that pertained to the wedding, but also with the boundaries. So
yeah. So that was like, and it's gonna be stuff like that where we just normally would like just kind of deal with it or whatever. No, like now we're setting boundaries. So
yep.
We're going to talk about that more next week. Here's Uncle Acid. We are so happy to be back.
Thank you for listening to this long ass podcast and for coming back because we're happy to be back. We'll be back for the foreseeable future. So,
hopefully we'll be able to upload stuff regularly. Like I said, I'm kind of in between jobs right now, so I have more time. But even when I do start like working again, we're still going to make this happen now that we have done it. So
we'll put it more on a schedule. For right now, it's still kind of like all over the place, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So
we're back, bitches. So get ready for more shit.
I'm so excited. But all right, here's Uncle Acid, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Hi, everyone. It's Megan. So I went to go upload this episode, and turns out we got a copyright strike, and the unfortunate thing with YouTube is they don't tell you specifically what the copyright issue is. You kind of have to figure it out. So after trial and error, of course, it ended up being the Uncle Acid song that's supposed to be playing right now. So unfortunately, we weren't able to insert it into the episode. If you would like to listen to the song, you can look it up on YouTube. It's actually there. I think it's on Uncle Acid's like official YouTube channel. But yeah, you can look it up and listen to it there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to play it for you. But thank you so much for listening and for sticking with us, even though we were MIA for a long time. And we're glad to be back. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.